Pete, this is awesome.
Oh, fuck, hey. Good to see you among the living, man. Check it out. It's the latest talent mix.
Thanks, Pete.
Good to see you all among the living. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest edition of the Talent Mix. It's a Smallville recap podcast. I'm Brian, here as always with my pal Zach. Zach, how are you?
Great. I have been all day going through every item of clothing I own and throwing away what I haven't worn in years.
I need to do that. I'm putting that chore off.
Dude. I mean, it's amazing how many, and I don't think I own more clothes than most people, but I think I wear like 7 things.
That's the thing of like, I have a drawer with probably 50 t-shirts in them, of which I wear 7.
Yeah.
And then they go in the laundry and I wear the same 7 the next week.
I have like, I was, going through this stuff and I'm like, oh, I remember when I got this shirt and I wore it and I had such a fun time. It's like, but do you wear it?
Right.
Do you wear it anymore? Are you going to frame it or something? This is part 1 of I'm going through everything I own, and hopefully I will have 75% less crap when I'm done.
There you go.
Than when I started. I have a tendency of hoarding, and so I'm fighting it.
It's
my cats love it because there's just crap everywhere that they can explore.
It's a weird habit to break of like Emily and I are currently, we're expecting a baby pretty soon. So we've been going through kind of purging stuff to make room for the other human who's going to start living in this house. And it's funny, just the amount of stuff that like board games was tough of like clearing out a closet and just being like, I want to be a person who has friends over and will play this big complicated board game. But here's the thing, it's really big. It takes up a lot of space and hasn't been played in 3 years.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's time to go.
Yes. I have a bunch of puzzles. I used to do puzzles with my last girlfriend. And I'm not with her anymore, and now I have cats. So I can't do. First of all, me doing puzzles by myself alone, I don't know if that's a great look. But if I wanted to do that, my cats are going to just pick apart the pieces and take them and put them in my shoes or whatever.
My wife likes to do puzzles, and when we first started dating, she explained to me she liked puzzles, and I early on I was like, I could have a bottle of wine and do a puzzle with you. That could be a fun at-home, like, date night thing. I can do a puzzle. I'll get into it. I got 10 minutes into that before I was like, I don't fucking like puzzles. This is boring.
Just too frustrated? Or
I don't get the, it's the finding I can get through, like, the frame part, you find the edge pieces, you build the frame. Right. Then I'm like, okay, we're moving. This is fun. This feels like we're doing something. And then the second it then opens up to the rest of I'm like, fuck this.
You don't get the dopamine hit from putting 2 pieces together.
Then it's just looking for stuff and like, well, this still isn't it. This piece isn't here. This piece is missing.
Yeah, I do that about 50 times when I'm doing a puzzle. I'm like, I think we're missing one. I tried literally every piece in this 10,000 piece puzzle.
It's but to your point, we also have a cat, and it's my wife gets mad because of course, like the cat just comes and is like, oh, this is something to fuck up.
It's just Thank you for placing these toys in front of me.
And it's just like, I don't know what to tell you. We have a cat. And this is just going to happen. You can't be surprised when this keeps happening.
I have been putting together Legos lately. I've gotten back into Legos.
That's fun.
Whatever. I'm 36 years old. Fuck off. I can do Legos.
A 3D puzzle.
Yeah. And when I'm doing them, I'm basically like half doing the puzzle and half being a ninja fending off my cats from taking little Lego pieces.
Have you seen Lego Masters on Fox?
No.
It's like the Great British Bake Off, but they make Lego stuff.
That's awesome.
I'm not gonna say it's great TV. I'm not gonna say it's like, oh, you gotta watch Lego Masters. I don't know. We like watching it while we're having lunch. It's good, easy TV.
I mean, it sounds like something I might not hate.
That's kind of it's the perfect like weekly, like, we don't like catch it. Sometimes we like bank like 3 or 4 episodes, and then a night comes along where it's like, I just don't want to think about fucking anything. And then Lego Masters,
Right.
Perfect.
Yes. Yeah.
I just want to be lulled into a zombified sleep.
This is no longer a visual show, so it wouldn't be much point in me showing you the Central Perk Lego set that I built.
No, but you should anyway.
Yeah.
You should show it to me
describe
later.
It. Yeah. I'll show it to you. I'll show it to you off the air.
It is funny of like chastising yourself for being a 36-year-old man building Legos, but like, who else is that fucking Friends thing for?
No, yeah, exactly.
It's certainly not for 10-year-olds.
For people like me, absolutely, yes. I mean, there's a whole line, I think, of Legos that are intended for either 36-year-olds or like genius children.
Right.
Of which I'm sure many exist. But...
Sure. I always just liked the guys. I wasn't interested in building things. I wasn't interested in like building spaceships or the models, but like the little guys, I'd make those fight each other.
I used to love to build stuff, but it wasn't until I was dating someone who had kids and was a long relationship, and I spent a lot of time putting Legos together for them.
Sure.
That it just like rekindled in my heart. I'm
sure.
Like, oh yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
I like to build. I'm a man. I want to build things that are Legos, that are children's toys.
Still counts. Still works.
Yeah.
Zach, we watched an episode of Smallville this week, Devoted. And before we get into it, I just want to say, like, man, I am here for, like, this kind of like last week. This isn't a great episode of television or even a great episode of Smallville, but I'm really digging what we're doing.
Oh, I think it's better than last week.
I agree.
I was going to go so far as to say, is this the first good non-John Glover episode of the show?
John Glover does not appear in the show, and I also had the same thought upon realizing that he wasn't in it.
It's interesting because what we're doing in season 4, of which you and I are both huge fans of, is making it a sillier teen show. And it's like, how does John Glover fit into that?
Right.
And we're going to get a good answer in a couple episodes.
This certainly feels like a soft reboot for the show a little bit. Or maybe that's a strong
word. It really
word.
does. No, but tonally it's a reboot. Because like I said, I think there was backlash for how self-serious season 3 was. And I think, you would ask some people and they would say they went too far in the other direction with season 4. But I think you and I are both, this is where I want to be.
I like all the pieces that are currently on the table, and I'm having a great time.
I think this tone of show complements Tom Welling's skill set so much better.
Agreed. Entirely agreed. And
like, he's really good in this episode.
I think I mentioned it last week, but this is the first time in a while I'm like, ooh, another one. I wish I could watch another one. Like, I don't want to wait. I want to I almost watched another one today. But I stopped myself.
Season 4.
Season 4, it's good. I think so far this might be one of my favorite seasons.
I think this is we're only 4 episodes in, but
that's true.
This is a good first 4. I don't know, season 2 had a good first 4 also, I remember, but
that's true. Either way,
I think this is going to be pretty high on our season rankings when we're done with them. When we do end of series awards.
Yes. I'm having a great time again. I kind of forgot that it was this fun for a little bit there. But before we get too deep into that, Zach, what have you been watching this week?
Well, I watched 2 things. One of them you and I are going to cover on the show once your wife has a baby.
Mm-hmm.
So won't really dig into that.
Yep.
And the other one is a movie that I don't think I had ever seen all the way through. And if I had, it wasn't since I was a child, which is Gremlins.
Oh, fun one. Very fun
Yeah,
one.
it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it's definitely one where I was like, oh, I wish I had seen this in middle school all the way through. I would have, it was that I was the demographic.
Right.
But definitely can appreciate the charm and had a lot of fun with it for sure.
I really like Gremlins. Have you done Gremlins 2?
I have seen that one, but not since I was a kid. I think that was like an HBO one that was on a lot.
Sure, that makes sense. Gremlins 2, I think, is a lot of fun in learning the full story behind it. So Joe Dante makes Gremlins, huge hit, and the WB is like, we want Gremlins 2, and he's like, it was very proud of that movie, but it was a big pain in the ass. I don't want to get into that again. Like, it also, like, why open that book back up? So a couple years go by, and the WB is like, we really want Gremlins 2, and you can do whatever you want. And Dante went, all right.
Yeah. I mean, Gremlins 2 was so poorly received that there isn't a Gremlins 3, which is insane. Think about every movie that has come back in the last 15 years.
Right.
There's no Gremlins reboot.
Right.
No terrible CGI Gremlins running around.
It is buck wild. There is a very funny Nick Lutzko video called "Where Did the Gremlins Go?" that I highly recommend. I'm going to show it to you immediately when we're done with this podcast, because I think you're going to fully agree with it. That said, for a Halloween episode, I'm sure maybe we've talked about this, but for a Halloween episode, we could do Gremlins 2, because Mr. John Glover is in Gremlins 2.
Ooh, I think we have to.
Yep.
But like I said, we deserve a few years of good Halloween movies, Brian. We
deserve a little treat.
Yes, exactly. I mean, we got to go Urban Legend and Gremlins 2, I think, will get us back on track.
Both of which are, like, also perfect for our podcast of, like, they're both insane, but they lean on the good, we'll have fun watching it end of the spectrum.
Not like, why am I alive? What is life?
Just like kind of doubting I like movies anymore.
Or doubting if what I'm watching is a movie is more like it.
Any other thoughts on great Christmas movie, the original Gremlins?
Yeah, and I mean, Christmas is so. I mean, more than Die Hard, it's like part of the movie, and I'm amazed that it took so long for people to be like, Gremlins is a Christmas movie. It's like, what do you mean? It's got Christmas music playing throughout the whole fucking movie. Christmas lights.
Right.
It's all about Christmas.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But any other thoughts on it?
No, I'm solid.
Good stuff. I also haven't watched much this week. We're kind of digging out some old Christmas favorites. We're watching a lot of like Christmas TV. I rewatched Elf. It's a good movie. Every now and again, Elf comes up, and like some years I'm like not hot on it, or not as, because I was a little older when that movie came out. Than some of the people who like it's truly part of their Christmas canon. I can take it or leave it any given year. But this year I was in the exact right mood, and I was like, this is a pretty good movie.
I think I was a senior in high school when it came out, and I didn't see it until years later after, because at the time it was kind of like for a little bit younger of an audience.
Right.
And it wasn't until, it became kind of a cult favorite that I got back to me, and Will Ferrell was blowing up, and I was like, yeah, I'll give it a try. And I was like, yeah, that was, if I was in middle school, that would be one of my favorite movies. Probably.
Right. It's a very committed performance from Will Ferrell in a way it's very fun and holds up.
Yes.
But apart from that, the only other thing that I think is interesting is I got all caught up on Superman and Lois, the CW Superman show that takes place in Smallville that we don't cover.
Not yet.
Not yet. And it's funny. I won't get too into it. But I'm still watching the show, so I do like it. It was like I don't watch a ton of like television shows. Most of my TV watching is throwing on a movie. So the fact that I keep going back to it means that I like it. And there is so much of the show that I like. But boy, howdy, it can get bad. Yeah.
That describes Smallville too, right?
I guess it's pretty it's the thing is there's so much good stuff. I really like Tyler Hoechlin as Superman. I think he's fantastic. And I like a lot of the cast. And a lot of the character stuff is good. The quieter character moments are what I wish the show was. The problem is they bust out all of these very stupid Superman sci-fi storylines that it's like, oh, I kind of wish you weren't doing this.
Can you just have real world problems with Superman? I'm certainly, there has to be some balance, right? Of like, if you're going to have a Superman thing, there has to be some if we're going to talk about how hard it is for Superman to raise kids, you have to show the Superman of it all. I'm not saying like never show Superman stuff. So I don't know. No tights, no flight.
Right. So if I were in charge of this show, I don't know how I would strike the correct balance. I just know this isn't quite it. And I'm not opposed to silly by any means. I fully support silly. The problem is when the tone of the show can get so like Friday Night Lightsy of teen stories, adult stories. There's kind of this like grain filter over the and washed out color palette of the show. And then we get to this big world-ending sci-fi storyline. The whole planet is in danger. And at the end, when it's all wrapped up, we have the mayor of Smallville, who is Lana Lang, thanking Superman for saving the world. Like the mayor of Smallville is what we're focusing on. It's just hard to like take it tonally seriously when it's so all over the place. But that said, there's a lot of good stuff. Season 3, I believe, will be premiering in January, and I'm looking forward to it. I don't know what to say.
January, okay. So is it like a shorter season?
It's the first 2 seasons have been 15, which actually feels like a pretty good number.
Because I feel like is that what CW is doing now? Because they were for a long time. They were still rocking the full.
Right, at least for this show is 15.
Yeah.
They're recasting a major character. One of the teen sons has left the show, possibly been fired, but they phrased it as he's leaving the show.
Why would he be fired? Is there any indication?
My understanding, so he was leaving the show, like his PR is like to focus on his mental health. However, my understanding from more insidery reports is he got a vaccine exemption with the union to still work on season 2. Because obviously sets are like very, very vaccine required. He got around that and has been very vocally anti-vaccine. And I reckon there has probably been some level of like, we gotta maybe axe this kid a little bit.
Interesting.
Which is a shame. He's good on the show. I do enjoy him and his character.
Where are you on the recasting instead of writing out? In general.
Yeah. In general, I don't know. I think it's a case by case.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's in this specific circumstance, like it would be the core of the show is Clark Kent, Lois Lane, their 2 teen sons. It would be weird to then just get rid of one of the teen sons out of nowhere. So I think recasting is the right call here, even though it's been 2 seasons.
I'm actually, obviously it's a case by case basis, but I think they should recast more than they do in that situation.
I agree. I agree.
Like I was a big fan, not a big fan, but I was a big fan in the similar way you're a big fan of this show, of the Lethal Weapon TV show.
Sure.
Where it's like, unbelievably stupid, but also like touching and fun a lot of the time.
Right.
And in spite of the fact that they hated each other, the show thrived off of the chemistry of the 2 main characters, Riggs and Murtaugh. The actors hated each other in real life, but fantastic chemistry on the show. Anyway, they wrote Riggs out and instead of recasting him, they killed him off.
Yeah.
And then in season 3, they were like, you get another badass ex-military partner who's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like, just make him the same guy. It's okay. I can suspend my disbelief.
Right. Like, I do understand it's not real and it is a television show.
Similar with Speed, like Speed, it wouldn't have been a good movie, but Speed 2 Cruise Control, like, it was clearly written for Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock, and then Keanu was like, no thanks. And they just changed the guy's name and changed like 2 lines of dialogue to be like, she's dating a different guy from the same bomb squad who works for the same boss.
Right.
And we're it's like, just making him, it's fine.
We're fine when they did it with Batman. Why are we suddenly not fine with it?
I think they used to do it a lot more.
Right.
It might be like because we're so obsessed with realism now.
I think that's a big part of it.
Right. But, Chris Nolan did it in The Dark Knight, with Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Right. It is what it is. It just is what it is. Yeah. And like I said, I think it's a shame in that I did like this kid on the show. But got to do what you got to do.
Right. Yes. Yep. I mean, they used to do that all the time with TV shows. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, they replaced that mom like
Viv.
halfway through.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I think you're right though. I think an element of realism kind of like just an element of like this would take people out of the show.
Right.
And that's okay. It's only an hour a week.
Right. Remember The Matrix when they were doing The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions, the lady who played the Oracle passed away before they shot Revolutions. So they recast her, which I'm like, that's the decision. That's a good decision. But then they spend like too long in the movie explaining why she looks different.
Right.
It's like, we don't fucking care. We're in the Matrix. It's
right.
fine.
Especially like you casted a woman who looks similar enough.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like she looks more similar than Aunt Viv's replacement did.
Right. And it's funny. I don't know about you. As a kid, never bothered me.
No, I mean, I would definitely be like, oh, I like this. I like one more than the other.
Sure. But I just knew it was a factor.
I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm not watching this one.
Right.
Yeah.
But I guess, sorry.
Anyway, if anything ever happens to you, Brian, I'm just going to get someone else and call them Brian.
Yeah, there you go. Just recast.
Just pretend that you're the same person.
Because this, of course, this podcast is beginning to end fully scripted and fictional. We don't know each other outside of this. We actually don't really get along.
No, fuck you, man. I can't stand you.
How about you stay in fucking character, bud, while we're recording, please?
I can't work with this asshole. I'm out of here.
Zach has literally gotten up. Which sometimes happens, and I don't call it out. I just talk slowly. But in this case, it does work out.
I have returned. I'm back in character.
Great. Finally. Should we get into Smallville?
Yes, we should. Yeah.
Oh, wait, shit. I have one other thing I wanted to talk about. I watched the trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. You seen this?
Oh, no, I didn't even know it dropped.
Trailer dropped a couple of days ago. And, as much shit as I talk about Marvel and is done with those movies they'll get me back for this one. I
enjoyed the last one, and a lot of people didn't like too, but I enjoyed it.
I thought too. I remember being really excited by the first one, and I saw that one like several times in theaters. Second one, I saw it in theaters, only saw it that one time, but I liked it.
I think it's because I'm not as invested in those movies, so I'm like, yeah, it was fun. It was entertaining. I enjoyed myself, and I move on with my life.
Right.
Wait, did you watch the Christmas special?
I didn't. I was modestly curious about it just because Gunn wrote and directed it. But then everyone was lukewarm on it. So I was a little like, why bother?
Well, wait, do you have more to say about the Guardians trailer before we move on?
No, just that they'll get me.
because I was
I'll go
going to
see that one.
say, yeah, I mean, they'll get all of us, Brian. I was going to say, James Gunn, we should talk about the DC stuff that's going on.
Yeah, is there anything new?
I mean, just that it seems like he is just like moving on from all the Snyderverse stuff now. He's just saying
Right.
oh, you know what? We're not going to do another Superman with Henry Cavill. Oh, you know what? We're not going to do Wonder Woman. Oh, you know what? We're not going to do Aquaman, but we'll give you another role. We'll recast you as a different superhero. And
Which
oh wait, we're not going to do the Batman Beyond movie that we were going to do with Michael Keaton. And we're not going to
right.
We're just stopping
Right. Which
all the stuff.
Aquaman 2's in the can, right? That's still coming.
Right. And to be honest, none of that's confirmed for sure, but that's the rumor.
Right.
And didn't Aquaman make like $1 billion or something?
That's
stupid?
the Aquaman made a lot of fucking money. Like I said, I think 2's coming. Aquaman's pretty good. It was of those DC movies, I liked Wonder Woman and I liked Aquaman.
I'm just obviously we are both on the record as not being huge fans of the Snyderverse stuff.
Right.
Like you said, you like Wonder Woman and Aquaman. But I was a fan of what we were doing these last couple of years where not all of this has to be connected. And we don't really give a shit.
Yes.
I was a fan of that.
I didn't like Joker, but
over.
I'm happy like for that vibe of like just here.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Here's a fucking Joker
Let's
movie
have
where we did our
fun
thing.
with this. Just go have fun.
Right.
And I think the Flash movie was going to give you an explanation for multiverse and all that shit is my feeling.
Right.
And it seems like now James Gunn and the other guy are like, no, it's all going to be connected like Marvel.
Right.
And
which these things made money, right? Like it's still like Joker made fucking money. I think the Batman did well.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the plan is to continue with those two separately. But my concern is I don't want I don't want this to bleed into I don't want a Superman movie that is just there to get me to watch the next whatever.
Right.
You know, the Green Lantern or whatever the fuck, you know,
Definitely.
the Marvel thing.
Yeah.
I want to be able to pick and choose which ones I see. And when I see one, I want to be able to understand it without having seen another one.
Right. Which I will also say I've heard that sentiment before and I agree with it. The Marvel movies, you don't actually have to see them to understand what's happening because they're dumb.
I mean, that's true of the good ones. The good ones are dumb and you don't have to have seen. But Doctor Strange, the last one. Oh, open the vault, Brian.
Oh, sure. Oh, God. Okay. Hang on. I have to drag out the vault first.
Yeah. Beep, 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 beep. I don't know what any of those sounds were.
That was I got it. You were opening the key. You were dialing the keypad. You open up the door. You got Doctor Strange out of his cryo vault. All of this.
I have returned. That's what Doctor Strange 2 sounds like.
We're gonna see. You can see the. I can see like the average listening time on the episodes when I check the analytics. I'm expecting a full crater.
But it'll come back up because we're about to talk about Mission Impossible. No,
right.
We're gonna. Doctor Strange 2 is only gonna be out of the vault for a minute. With that movie, that was I told you I couldn't finish it because I think it was all connected to shit that had happened before that I hadn't seen in the shows and other movies that I was like, I don't know or care what's going on.
Right. I guess it was, to your point, it was pretty connected to the TV show, WandaVision.
Right.
Which, don't get me wrong, it's like it could be explained in a sentence. The important bits of it. But yeah, I guess it does feel like you're missing something from that movie if you haven't seen WandaVision.
Yeah, I had no idea what was going on with her.
That's
at all.
Not the actual problem in that movie. I had seen most of the crap that was relevant, and that movie still sucks. That movie sucks so bad.
Brian, I listened to another podcast. It's a very good show where they competitively rank things, movies and stuff. And they did a couple weeks ago, they ranked everything in Marvel Phase 4. And I was shocked that Doctor Strange 2 was toward the middle of the list.
We are in an incredible minority.
Maybe I need to finish it. Does it get better in the second half?
It gets worse.
That becomes a horror movie?
Actually, I won't say it gets worse. I don't remember how I feel about it, but like, no, it doesn't get better.
And they did peddle that little line about it being a horror movie and being twisted and weird and
no, watch more movies.
Yay, Sam Raimi.
Watch more fucking movies. I fucking beg it. Not to anyone specific, just to you out there. Watch more fucking movies. Because these aren't once you get zoomed out enough, these movies are the same. They're the same. I think the furthest departure for them is Guardians of the Galaxy, and let's be clear, it's the same.
Well, I do think post Guardians, the Guardians energy kind of seeped into the rest of the movie.
Absolutely,
and that's a good thing for in a lot of the cases.
Right. You know what's funny though? Just while we're in the Marvel pits, the Marvel mud pits, is obviously the Guardians of the Galaxy play a larger role in Endgame, the big like crossover thing.
Right.
And man, when not written by James Gunn, I'm not as charmed by them.
You don't. I bet he was involved in that though.
You are probably right. I guess I'm not charmed by them in that movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's not all him though, so it's probably more a matter of him coming in and sprucing up what they already have or whatever.
Right. But either way, I was not as delighted to see them as I was maybe expecting to be.
Okay. Should we put Doctor Strange 2 back in the vault?
Get back in that fucking vault.
Get
in
back.
there.
I will return. Okay.
My wife told me I have to get rid of the vault before the baby comes, but it's really heavy and I don't want to get it down my 3-floor walk up.
I mean, what will we do? We just can't ever talk about Doctor Strange 2 again? Or do you have to like leave and come back, with the vault as part of the bit?
I can't actually get rid of it. That's the witch's curse. So I will have to go put it on my roof or something.
Like if you move, it'll just appear in your next apartment or whatever.
No, I do have to bring it.
You have to physically move it.
Or hire movers. It does have to physically. It is. I can't stress this enough. There is a very real physical safe in my office.
It's a very real giant vault.
Yes.
In your office.
Where I put yours and my discussion about Doctor Strange 2. Oh, we got to talk about Smallville, dude.
Let's do it. Yes. Let's talk about something much better.
Next Wednesday, it quenches your thirst. Then you crave for more.
It's so hot.
An appetite fueled by devotion.
I would do anything for you. Things that Lana would never do.
Fresh Smallville. Thirst. Next Wednesday on the WB.
That predictably was the teaser, the promo for tonight's episode, Smallville Devoted. Which, okay, I got a couple notes about. I don't think this promo for the first time. I don't think this was far off from the whole thing, right?
No. This is the first one where it was like, oh, this actually is kind of what they're going for in the episode,
right? But here's the thing. So it ends on that Smallville Thirst, not the title of the episode.
No, they're just doing Crypt Tuck again.
Yeah, it seems to be the WB promotional department is just coming up with their own titles, which is fine. I get it.
I think that's exactly what's happening. Yeah.
But so I did also think it was so for like Thirst. The idea of that does fit the episode. We're gonna get to a drink that's basically a love potion. It's basically the pheromone power again, but in a drink.
We're gonna come back to this again, Brian. Don't worry. There's a lot of romance potion type things in this show.
So I thought it was funny that, the common parlance of someone being thirsty, aka desperate for sex, is I thought of that as more of a more recent development, maybe in the last 10 years. But I don't know about you. Like,
No, I had that same reaction. Maybe that's not what they're like. I don't know if it was meant in the same derogatory way back then, but I think it was like I'm like thirsting for someone, like a very like erotic term, like thirsting for someone.
right, and that makes sense. That said, I checked Urban Dictionary and the entry for thirsty. And the first entry I have in regards to it being in some sort of connotation for too eager to get something, in parentheses, especially play or desperate. And the example they use is, "Hey girl, what's up? You looking real nice. Can I get that number?" The girl under her breath, thirsty. That example was written in 2003.
So what I'm sensing is that maybe this was a common phrase outside of suburban white kid circles that you and I were running in.
That must be correct.
But that people in the Smallville, in the CW or WB promo department, they were more
that makes sense.
streetwise
That
than you
makes
and I.
sense to me. That makes sense to me. So, Devoted is the 4th episode in the 4th season of Smallville, the 70th episode overall. It aired October 13th, 2004. It's the beginning of the school year, and Lois is still trying to get her situation straightened out with the dean of Met U so she can attend this fall. So college classes haven't started yet? All right.
I mean, it is still very sunny out, so I think it's airing in October, but I think it's supposed to take place like very beginning of the school year.
I guess that's fair. At Smallville High, Clark teases Lois for still being in high school while showing off his new Letterman jacket. I think here is where we get the first, like, "not your colors" line.
Yeah, well, the wiki's going out of order.
Right?
Yeah. I'm trying to...
Okay, I think this next paragraph will maybe get to it.
Okay, yeah.
On Clark's first day of football practice, right, this is where we open.
Yes, yeah.
He is dismayed at how much time he is spending sitting on the sidelines instead of actually playing. I'm not like super experienced with football, but like even if you're not starting at practice, you're probably out there for the guys who are starting to hit, right?
Well, he's the quarterback. So it seems like he's the backup quarterback. And if that's the case, they would have plenty of times where they would run plays with him in case something happened to the starting quarterback.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I do think we probably should have had, once Cam, she can't come on the show right now, we should have reached out to your brother for all the football shit.
You are absolutely right.
At the very least, we should have him watch each episode and then just come on for 10 minutes at the end and give us all the football, like what they did right, what they did wrong with the football.
At the end of this episode, I'm going to call him.
Yes. Dude.
I don't know if he'll watch the episode. So you'll just have to find out if it's at the end of this. But if he watches it,
yes.
If he watches it and has any comments, I'll call him and I'll attach it.
Yeah, that's great. No, that sounds perfect. Yep. I would love that.
Okay. He complains to assistant coach Jason Teague that the other players ignore his passes or miss on purpose. Jason tells Clark that the team has been playing together for 3 years. Clark is the new guy, and they just have to warm up to him. Yeah, Clark, you probably should have expected this. Like, you are a senior first starting. Like, that's not what we do here.
Right. I understand that, and I think that's realistic, and I think maybe your brother will, once he shows up on the show, he'll agree that that's realistic. However, I had a problem with the wiki didn't mention that basically the a story of the episode is that the cheerleaders have a love potion and they're using it to manipulate the football players into doing whatever they want them to do. And at the beginning of the episode, one of the cheerleaders says to the starting quarterback, like, "Oh, we're still hanging out on Saturday." And he's like, "No, I have plans with the guys." And she makes him drink the love potion. And she's like, "Why don't you come with me right now? Let's leave." And he's like, "Yeah, I'll come with you. I'll do whatever." So he leaves practice.
Yep.
And the coach is like, "If you leave, you're sitting on the bench." He's like, "Fuck you." He leaves. My problem is, wouldn't his teammates be mad at him for just walking out on practice?
Unless they're all also drinking the Kool-Aid. I don't think that works, but
because they're like, Clark's coming in to play, and they're like, "Fuck you, Clark." It's like, but the other guy just walked off the field.
Right. What do you want? Do you want no quarterback?
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like I don't know football beyond Tecmo Super Bowl for the NES, but that doesn't seem like a great strategy.
Tecmo, one of the most realistic football games.
It's great. Okay, so Jason tells Clark the team is playing together for 3 hours. Clark's a new guy that has to warm up to him. He tells the players to go easy on Clark. On the bench, Clark observes a cheerleader, Amanda, give her boyfriend Danny Cormay, the quarterback, a drink from a cooler the cheerleaders provide for the players. Immediately after, Danny is suddenly particularly affectionate and obedient to her. When Jason approaches Danny and tells him to get back in the game, he gets mad at Jason and leaves in the middle of practice, giving Clark a chance to go in and play. This, I will say, for as silly as this storyline is, it does feel like it might be one of the most accurate examples of like a golden age Superman comic. Like, gee willikers, these conniving cheerleaders have given the boys a love potion. Now they're all serving their every whim.
Yes, lean into it, Smallville.
Yes.
Lean into it.
After practice, Jason is in the locker room where things fucking escalate. I remember I'm watching this episode and like we're at practice. Hey, Clark, looks like a spot just opened up for you. Then we get to here. Just smash cut to here. After practice, Jason is in the locker room when Danny appears with a shotgun. He starts to fire at Jason, but Clark arrives just in time to save him and disarm Danny. Is this where we get the intro? Is the intro here?
Oh, yeah, sure. Sorry.
Good enough.
I wish they did that in an episode where it's like, is this where we do the intro?
Is this good enough?
Yeah. Here? Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, whatever.
So 2004.
Mm-hmm.
Did we think we were done with school shootings for a while or something? Did we think, like, was there a dry spell where they're like, we can do this in a TV show?
It hasn't been that long. It's been like under 10 years.
I mean, yeah, it was 99 was Columbine, which was the big one. Like, was there a post 9/11 dry spell or something where everyone was just like trying to behave? I don't know.
Truly no idea.
Because I'm trying to think back. I don't remember any big ones after Columbine before. God, this is so. Sorry,
this is so morbid, but no,
this is morbid. Yeah, until like Virginia Tech, and then it seems like we've had one like every day since then.
Right.
So I wonder if they just thought that was a one-off thing. We're past that. We can have Superman high school TV shows where kids are shooting shotguns in the school at each other.
And then the whole school moves on.
I was going to say, they don't close school down for that week.
Nope. School's just keep it going. A kid comes into a school with a shotgun and then attacks not a teacher, but like a member of the faculty. That's national news.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Don't worry. The torch is on it. Honestly,
at this point, they're shutting Smallville High down. They're shutting the school down because last year a girl attacked another girl with an axe.
Mm-hmm. I forgot about the axe. Just like they did.
We've had coaches die in fires on the school premises. I mean, I think they would just build a new school next door and be like, call it something else and burn the old one down.
It's a dark image in the real world, the idea of like metal detectors and like all these extreme security measures in American high schools in real life. Smallville High, we might want to consider it.
Like there would be like researchers who specialize in psychology and crime and stuff would be all over Smallville High.
Right. It's I'm thinking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, a show that Smallville certainly takes a lot of inspiration from. And one thing in Buffy is when Buffy kills a vampire, stake through the heart, the vampire explodes into dust. And that was because Joss Whedon had the thought of like a bunch of dead teenagers at this high school is not going to be a good look.
Yes. Yes, smart.
Smallville hasn't really thought about.
No. Well, their solution is like, we just won't address the aftermath ever.
Which is starting to look more suspicious 4 years in.
Like they had to build a whole new cemetery after this show started in Smallville. Like,
which there was no death here. It was an attempt. National news. But don't worry, the torch is on it. Lois and Clark meet Chloe at the torch office. Chloe asks Lois to go to the hospital to interview Danny, but she is too busy. Imagine this. Danny is in the hospital for bringing a shotgun to school and attacking a member of the faculty. And Chloe wants her cousin to go to the hospital and be like, can I interview him for our school newspaper?
He's not in like the prison hospital. He's not in jail or like under armed surveillance.
I mean, at Smallville Medical, who the fuck knows?
But why is he in the hospital? He just fell down. Like Clark does his heat. He gets a boner and he does his heat vision on the gun to make it hot.
Right.
And then he like goes, and drops it. And then I think he hits his head and concussion, by the way.
Oh, right. Thank God we got real in the weeds on this one.
Why is he in the hospital? With just the concussion? That's why?
He bing-bonged his head real hard. She asks Clark to interview Coach Teague, but Clark reluctantly tells her that he will probably have to spend less time on the torch because of football practice. Yeah, sorry he doesn't have time for this fucking full-time daily paper. God forbid.
Like, well, I'm not going to give you the credit that I can hand out.
Yeah, right. It's good. There seems to be no teacher involved in this. Like, Chloe is dismayed, but does not press the issue. He does admit that the other team members are rude to him, but Chloe just repeats that they are probably annoyed at him for becoming a star quarterback his first year on the team. Both Clark and Lois notice that all the players on the team are attentive and devoted to their girlfriends. Clark learns that Lex is providing the jerseys for the team and coolly informs him that he cannot buy Clark's friendship back.
Okay, we're a couple things.
Yes.
First, let's talk about these villains of the week, these cheerleaders.
Yes.
They are a very over-the-top caricature of like Valley Girl.
Yes.
Cheerleader.
Yes.
And if I remember correctly, by 2004, that person in real life was already virtually non-existent. It was already a punchline. Right. This reeks of, 30-year-olds at the time writing about
100%.
A high school character that maybe was back when they were in high school or something.
And even then, sure, it's more writing from like high school movies than probably ever truly existed on its own.
Yeah. Like maybe there's some of this stuff in 2000s, but I feel like when I was in high school, the people who talk like that were doing it ironically.
Right. No, this never existed in any capacity in my high school. No. The other thing from before, Lois earlier mentioned Clark's Letterman jacket not being his colors. Chloe
Nietzsche
says
line.
the same. Are these two Nietzsche lines? Because he's wearing the red,
Absolutely.
yellow, blue, and
absolutely Nietzsche lines.
Those are the colors.
Yeah, not really your colors that he's gonna wear when he's Superman.
No!
I did want to say,
also, what are you talking about? He only wears those colors.
I know, right? Literally, is one of his two jackets he has is that color. In the opening credits, when it says special guest star Erica Durance, is that the new special guest star John Glover? Like, I remember in season 1, whenever that popped up, you and I were like, yes!
Yeah, I guess
I
so.
think Erica Durance is the new one for this season of special guest star.
Right. This is kind of the end of her initial run, this episode.
Right.
But we'll get her back. We'll get her back.
We'll get her back. She's coming back very soon, actually. Okay, last thing. The wiki kind of brushed over it.
Yeah.
It's post practice in the locker room, and all the half naked football players they found their new jerseys and they're going through them. And then Coach Teague comes in and is like, yeah, the man who donated these jerseys, Lex Luthor, would like to, come in and say a few words. And he comes in and gives them a pep talk. Like, is that weird? The billionaire who donated the jerseys is here to talk to you half naked high school boys in the locker room.
About a rebuilding year, and don't get me wrong, it's mostly to get back in the good graces of one of the high schoolers here.
Do you think the people who run the high school would have a different thought about it if they knew that the billionaire had a secret room devoted to one of those high school players that was in the locker room?
I'm going to throw out there was an incident with a shotgun yesterday. Who knows?
In that room.
In this room.
In that room.
So, who the fuck knows?
I just love the idea of, like, can you imagine nowadays, like, hey, half-naked high school teen boys, this billionaire is going to come in and talk to you for a minute. It's okay, he gave a bunch of money. Come on in. Come in and talk to him while they're showering.
Great look. Holds up great. It's like...
Watch out, Mr. Billionaire. Careful. That was a gunshot right there. Yeah, there's still some debris. Yeah, we have not swept. We haven't had time to sweep.
Smallville High must be run by the same people at Smallville Medical Center. Of like, this is nightmarish. Sending your kid to this high school is a little like sending your kids to fucking Hogwarts. Where like really bad shit like keeps happening, and they're like, all right, off to school now.
Yeah, teaching there is also like a defense against the dark arts kind of a prospect.
Okay, that evening, Lana laments to Jason that she's never been happier in their relationship and wishes they didn't have to sneak around. But Jason reiterates that he really needs his job, so they have to continue keeping it a secret. Jason, you need a different job, buddy.
He also reiterates that he's like, with my college schedule, I'm in college. Remember, I'm just starting college, everybody.
Yeah,
remember,
right.
I'm only 18 years old. It's not as bad as it looks.
This is inconvenient, not creepy.
Also, this may be fucked up, but they're all in their mid-20s anyway. In what world are those two not boning if they've been dating?
Yeah, right. Yeah. 1,000,000%.
17-year-old and an 18-year-old met in Paris. He followed her back here. They haven't had sex yet, you're telling me?
That is the Smallville way. It's
I mean, it is not said that they haven't yet, but later it will be confirmed that
Got it.
Lana Lang is a virgin when she's, spoiler alert, with Clark later.
It is a weirdly, and like I think this is just the nature of teen shows, because like, remember it being a big deal? It's very funny that it used to be a big deal, and I think still is, you know, a milestone in young people's lives. But what was my point? Oh, it's funny how puritanical these like CW shows can be, while also being like, and make sure we get a good shot of the cheerleader in her bra.
Yeah, I mean, that is the real ick factor of, you know, all this stuff that,
right,
you know, finally we are addressing in our pop culture somewhat, of like, it's like the hypocrisy of the, you know, the patriarchal bullshit. Like,
definitely,
you can't be a slut, but show me a little more cleavage, please.
Yes, exactly. 1,000,000%.
I do want to say before we move on, I think Kristen Crook and Jensen Ackles have fantastic chemistry.
I agree. I remember even the first time, and I feel it now, like kind of rooting for them to figure this out.
Right. I'm rooting for them, and I'm rooting for Clark and Lois.
Right.
Let's just go our separate ways. We'll all be happy.
And thankfully, Lana and Jason T get married. Oh no. Oh no, that's not who she marries for. Oh no.
It's Clark, right? It's Clark.
Oh no. Chloe starts.
Although I will say, when they do finally towards the end of the season get back with the Clark Lana thing, I'm back into it again, because you know who's there? Fucking Lifehouse. Lifehouse is there, and I'm like, okay, that's all I needed. That's all you had to say.
There you go.
Lifehouse.
Also, oh man, this is a little bit of a spoiler for a episode we haven't recorded yet. I can't wait till you see the end of Superman 3. Buddy, just speaking of all of this, I cannot wait until you see the end of Superman 3.
Okay.
So Chloe starts investigating the story and decides to ask Jason for an inside scoop on what might have made Danny freak out. She approaches Jason in the middle of practice, but he blows her off. Bored waiting, Chloe sips the green sports drink from the player's cooler.
Blows her off. He's like, hey, I'm coaching practice right now.
And not giving Chloe exactly what she wants when she wants it is blowing her off and being incredibly rude.
He's not rude. He goes, I'll do it. I just, like, not when I'm coaching the football practice. Sorry, continue.
That's extremely Allison Mack would take that attitude forward when leading a cult.
What are you talking about? I haven't heard anything about that.
Of course. Suddenly, she spots Clark on the field and realizes that she is completely and singularly devoted. That's the name of the episode. To him.
Man, wiki writer, you clever.
Lana is also at practice watching Jason. Clark mistakenly thinks that she is there to support him and goes to the stands to talk to her. Great little misunderstanding here.
Yes.
Really liked it.
The reason he mistakenly thinks it is because Lana fucking tells him that's why she's there.
Right. Right.
Which is a weird move for Lana. I know he doesn't want him to know that she's there for the coach, but she could have come up with some other reason that wasn't like, oh, I'm here to watch you, ex-boyfriend.
I think she panicked. I believe it. I buy it. I think, and I just, oh man, you know what? The little knot it's creating is worth it. It's worth it. Jason, also drinking from the cooler, sees Clark talking to Lana and suddenly feels annoyed and possessive. Okay. Lois finds Chloe in the office of the Torch taking down her wall of weird. She asks what's up, and Chloe states that she's quitting the Torch because she only has time to devote to Clark. Allison Mack is having fun here, and I'm here for it.
I'm here for all these people to have more fun on this show.
Definitely.
All about it.
She asks Lois to take charge of the paper so she can work on a relationship with Clark. Lois is at first concerned that Chloe is setting herself up for heartbreak, but Chloe gets angry. Lois agrees to interview the cheerleaders because she needs the credit to graduate. She overhears the cheerleaders talking and sees one of them with a chemistry paper on love molecules. She decides to investigate a bit more.
Brian, what is the implication here? Is the implication that they, whilst working on a chemistry project, came across this love molecule? Or is the implication that they had already done this plan and they were like, we'll just write about that for our project? Way easier.
I like both. Flip a coin. I like either. Either are good. I'm trying to imagine a high school science class where they're like, oh, and by the way, there's a molecule that'll make people fall in love with you.
All the hands go up.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, late that night, Clark finds Chloe in his loft. This scene is fucking buck wild. This is peak good Smallville.
It's peak WB influence.
Oh, yeah, it is. Late that night, Clark finds Chloe in his loft wearing nothing but his football jersey. She tells Clark that she wants to devote to him as her number one priority and straddles him and kisses him passionately. Confused, Clark resists, but Chloe is persistent. What the wiki doesn't have here is the part where she grabs the dick. It's the camera is kept at chest level, but let's be clear here. Chloe grabs the dick.
Through the jeans.
Through the jeans.
But definitely she reaches in that area, and with Tom Welling's reaction, it's clear.
She's talking about how she's going to do things to show her devotion to him as the hand sinks towards that area. The implication is that she's going to give him a hand job, right?
I mean, or it's just the beginning of more.
I guess. It's for everything this show has done so far as a teen soap. This felt like the most explicit thing we've seen on the show.
I think so. The dick grab. It might just be the reaction that Tom Welling gives is so convincing.
Yeah,
like if you just saw that clip, you would be like, "Oh, that's the reaction someone has when someone grabs their dick and they weren't expecting it."
Yes, definitely.
This might be his best performance yet in the show.
Yes, absolutely. Also, if this might be one of like Clark's strongest moral moments, because
I was gonna say the same thing. He's a fucking saint.
I'm 17 and literally anyone offers to touch my penis.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, even if you didn't have a crush on the girl, if you were 17 and a girl did this, straddled you and touched your junk, like your heat, she would have burned alive from your heat vision. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next morning, Clark cryptically asks his mother what to do about Chloe's advances, and she advises Clark to be honest with her. Clark also asks Jonathan what he should do about the football team not liking him, and Jonathan says he needs to earn their trust.
I did want to applaud the restraint of the Smallville writers in that scene with Mama K, because there's a line where Mama K says, there's somebody out there for you. I just know it. And they did not have Lois Lane knock on the door
Right.
and appear right then.
It would have been so easy.
I was shocked that's not what happened.
Surely it came up, right?
Yes, I know. I would wager a lot of money.
I bet real money on it.
that was the intent, and they couldn't figure out how to do it, or it didn't work well for the episode because they do have to have the Johnny K moment right after.
Right.
So that hurt them. That hurt them that they couldn't make it work. I'm telling you, they were like, oh.
And like the shark puppet not working in Jaws, it's for the better. In school, Jason summons Lana to his office and overtly starts making out with her. Lana is puzzled because they are usually very careful about keeping their relationship a secret and questions his overly devoted behavior.
Oh my gosh, the wiki writer's going for it.
And you know what? I'm here for it. Jason then requests Lana come to practice just because he wants to see her. Chloe appears at practice wearing a cheerleader uniform, stating that this is the best way to support Clark, or the best way to support Clark is to be his personal cheerleader, which it is unclear. Has Chloe joined the cheerleading squad? That would take more than an afternoon to do.
She just bought the uniform. Yeah, or she borrowed it. That's interesting.
I think she says she found it. But then,
does she? Okay.
Yeah, she says she found it. But also there's an implication she's with the cheerleaders, which wouldn't be allowed.
Wouldn't one of them be like, hey, that's my uniform that you...
And also,
you found?
Why is the newspaper girl here? And also, wouldn't there be an adult present to like coach the cheerleaders who would be like, hey, you're not on my squad?
Brian, they don't have adults running any of the after-school programs.
We do not see
Smallville High.
Jason Teague is not the head coach. Yeah,
we don't see the head coach.
Right. We just have children watching children.
I mean, we did have children on the teen suicide. Oh,
that's
mine.
Where are the adults in Smallville? What are they doing? Okay, so when Clark drinks from the player's cooler, he chokes and instantly starts to feel ill. Nauseated, he asks Jason if he can sit out because he doesn't feel well. But Jason cruelly sends Clark in and tells the other players that Clark is fair game. Weakened and sick, Clark takes a beating on the field while Chloe cheers and jumps on the sidelines. As he is lying stunned on the ground, Clark notices the cheerleaders carrying the cooler away and makes the connection that there must be kryptonite in the sports drink. I'm totally here for kryptonite Gatorade. I'm a million% here for it.
It's amazing it took this long for them to do it. It's actually a miracle.
We've talked about it already, and I'm sure we'll bring it up more. Of like, this episode is the perfect balance of like, there's plenty of stuff for us to make fun of on our podcast, but this episode was nothing but a joy to watch.
Oh yeah, no, this is pure joy. Absolutely, I'm here for it.
That night, Clark is in the loft applying ice packs to his bruises when he is attacked by a hooded figure. He realizes.
Wait. Well, he knows it's Jason. He just walks up the stairs. But it's fun that he's wearing the hoodie. I love that he's like
just in
like
case
a Unabomber, to come beat up. But he doesn't try to hide who he is. He starts talking to Clark right away.
He was just feeling moody. The hoodie? He was just feeling moody. Let's see. He realizes it's Jason and tries to tell him there is something in the sports drink. However, Jason is in a jealous rage and refuses to listen. He tells him to stay away from his girlfriend and beats him up. Clark is, of course, weakened from the kryptonite Gatorade. He throws Clark through the rail of the loft and advances on him.
How many times have they replaced that rail, do you think?
There's so many. It comes out of Clark's allowance by this point. Listen, this farm is on the margins, Clark. We can't just every time you have a fucking fight in the barn, we can't go.
He's like, it's not my fault a bug boy broke into the fucking barn, Dad.
It is, though, kind of. Like, you could just not get involved.
Also, you brought the kryptonite here, so...
I don't know. Clark, sounds like you got to take responsibility for this fucking beam. Just then, Lex arrives and scares Jason off. Clark lies and says he has no idea who his attacker was. Here's a practical question. Was the hoodie so that Lex could conceivably not see
Yes,
Jason?
100%. Yeah, 100%.
He also notices that the kryptonite liquid is slowly forcing itself out of his body, even dripping out of his nose. His bruises and injuries disappear, and Clark discreetly covers up so that Lex doesn't notice, just keeping the gaslighting up. Lex arrives to tell Clark something important. Since Lex just fended off Clark's attacker, Clark agrees to listen. Lex gives Clark the file containing all the information that he has on him, but Clark is skeptical. Lex tells him that he greatly values their friendship and is sincere about repairing it. I don't know. I know Lex's goal here. Let's say, hypothetically, that I had a giant file on you. And, would me bringing the file to you, reminding you of everything that I've collected on you, be the best way
Also, it's not a giant... He's like, this is every file I ever had. And it's like a 1 inch thick binder. Like you had a room devoted to this kid. I know you have more fucking files. I know you have more files than that. What'd you do with the frame picture, Lex?
Where's the big
Bring that
picture?
Over. Bring the picture.
We'll
and
put
those
it in the
gravity ball
barn.
things, I want those too. Yeah. Having said that, I do love this scene.
It's great. It's great.
Rosenbaum is so good in it too.
And I've been missing this more tense, whatever we were doing in season 3, even though it felt like we were bringing that relationship to some kind of head, it lost the fun of Lex wants to be friends.
Right. Yes. Couple things from that scene. Clark says, this friendship was so important to you. Why did you lie to me for so long? Clark, fuck right off.
Clark, listen to yourself.
Any other character said it was pulling this shit, they would be the villain of this story. Think about what he's doing. He's guilting this guy for lying to him.
Clark.
While simultaneously gaslighting him into his insanity.
And just being and as long as we're clear, this is all your fault.
Yeah, you shouldn't lie. That's the lesson here. I love the moment.
I never lie. I said that in the movie.
I do love the line. It's like the music comes in. It's so good where Clark says, everyone has a dark side, Lex. And Lex says, yeah, but I can feel mine creeping over the corners. Oh, it's a great moment.
Great.
He's like, your friendship helped keep it at bay. Oh, I love it.
So
I love
good.
it. Give it
so
to me.
Good. Okay. Lois realizes that cheerleaders put together a science project in which they experimented on a love molecule whose effects are enhanced combined with meteor rock. She also notices Mandy always carries a folder with specifics of the molecule, including the antidote, in her bag. She makes a plan to infiltrate a pool party and brings Clark along. She sends Clark to distract Mandy. Clark pretends to be... Oh, so we're already at the pool party. We just did that in a sentence.
We skipped over. Yes, so... First of all, they're in the torch office, Lois and Clark. And Lois is like, you drank the Kool-Aid. Why aren't you running around like a crazy person?
Right.
And Tom Lange has the best reading of this line. He goes, he goes, oh.
Yeah, weird.
I don't know. I don't know.
Why are you being crazy? Why are you being crazy? It does affect
Like,
me. It does affect me.
Like, really, he's really clearly like guilty. Like, I don't know. I definitely don't know the answer to that. And then the scene ends. She gets like 2 centimeters from his face and goes, "How do you look in a swimsuit, Clark?" Which I think because they weren't sure how much she was going to come back into the show, they are really in these first 4 episodes underlining the Clark Lois sexual tension.
Yes.
And making them a little bit flirtier than they will be when she comes back. When she comes back, they really get them back to like frenemies for a long time.
Right. That said, I do like the flirting.
Oh, I love it. And the more of it, I'm here for it.
So there's a couple of mentions of this pool party throughout the episode. The cheerleaders are having a pool party. They're going to have a pool party. I was not expecting the pool party to be at the school.
There are no grown-ups in this fucking school.
How are you having a sexy, like this is a sexy pool party?
Yeah.
At the school.
It's not just the pool. It's like in the weight room too. It's where they start making out and stuff.
Are we
like,
slipping?
There are no grown-ups.
Are we slipping the kryptonite Gatorade to like the janitor? Smallville High. What is happening here?
Maybe there's just no pools in Smallville other than the school, because I don't think anyone in high school wanted to have a party at the high school. I don't remember that being a thing. It wasn't like, oh, let's go party at the school.
But so why have a pool party? So don't have a barn party or some shit. You're in the middle of farmland, Kansas. You can find a field to have a party in. And them wanting to have there not being another pool available, it doesn't explain how they got into the school. I don't know who is principal right now, and granted,
yeah, bring Quan back. Bring Quan back.
Teens just died under his watch. They weren't having an irresponsible, sexy pool party. We've also get some goofy stuff here, straight out of like a Joel Schumacher movie, where the football players are like hula dancing for the cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Gee Willikers, Superman. They got them behaving like busted bimbos.
Can you imagine if, like 3 days after a school shooting, the press found out that the high school kids were having a pool party after hours in the school with no grown-ups?
Smallville High. No one died.
No, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
So they infiltrate the pool party, bring Clark along. She sends Clark to distract Mandy. Clark pretends to be devoted to Mandy.
Oh my gosh.
And Mandy drags him into the weight room. Mandy pins Clark and begins to make out with Clark while Lois tries to get her bag. Eventually, the two manage to get the bag away. We, of course, get a sexy scene.
I mean, yeah, I have a couple things to say about this. First of all, the swimsuits the guys are wearing are the most 2000 swimsuits.
I didn't notice.
They're really long and baggy.
Yeah.
They're like, I noticed how good a shape Tom Welling is in, and I mean, obviously I've noticed before, but he's 6'2", he's jacked. It's a little absurd that the cheerleaders haven't noticed him before now. You know what I mean?
Right. There's a moment where like he's wearing a t-shirt, and then like when he comes on to Mandy, she like lifts up his shirt, sees his abs, and is like, I can work with this. They do say he's hot earlier.
Right. But he's
a grade A slab of fucking beef.
Yeah, compared to everyone else in the high school, he's Superman.
He's Superman. Right.
He's Tom Welling was a model before he was an actor, right?
Tom Welling was the most handsome kid at his high school. Like,
and they don't even throw glasses on him like Clark Kent.
Right,
Like he's just just really good looking.
Right. I'm sure they thought about doing that, right? Early in season one.
Was that part? I wonder if Tom Welling was like, "No, I'm not wearing fucking glasses."
I also think WB wouldn't want that, right?
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yep.
That doesn't look good on the poster.
No.
But I do want. I don't think it was ever seriously considered, but I wonder if it came up.
Well, the funny thing is, I think the last 3 seasons, they introduced the glasses several times, but never stick with them.
Huh?
Like they're like, oh, here, these glasses. Yeah, I'm nearsighted. You know, he does it. He's like, it's like the moral of the episode is he learns he needs to come up with a fake identity, but then he doesn't wear them anymore.
Huh? Interesting.
In the show.
All right.
So I'm wondering what that was. Yeah.
Okay. Lois leaves to study the notes when she is attacked by Chloe, still under the influence of the love molecule. Chloe and Lois fight until Lois knocks her into a furnace. Suddenly, Chloe snaps out of it and they realize that heat neutralizes the effect, which is convenient.
Also, Clark is like, oh yeah, just like the heat from the gun knocked the guy out earlier. And they're like, oh yeah, how did they know about the heat on the gun? He told people he did the heat ray on the gun?
I didn't even fucking think of that.
They're like, what are you talking about? What do you mean?
Huh?
Oh, I don't know. The gun, I think it was hot because
I had a boner.
They run hot.
I had a big time danger boner, and he dropped it. I didn't even fucking think of that, dude.
Yeah, interesting.
That might just be a plot hole, like an actual hole.
It's a plot hole. It's a plot hole
because it's
a plot hole.
There's no justification for that,
unless it was like the gun got hot because it got fired so many times. The barrel was hot.
I don't think there's a good justification for that one. That one's just a mess.
No, there's not.
They just weren't thinking about it. Okay, so Chloe snaps out of it. They realize that heat neutralizes the effect. Chloe and Lois interrupt Clark and Mandy, but when Mandy realizes that Clark is pretending to like her, she gets mad and brings in some football players. Lois defeats one of them by kicking him. Then Clark uses his heat vision to burst open a steam pipe, which cures the players.
Also, horribly burns them? Steam pipe?
Right. It's steam for the record.
Melted.
It's in a I don't know if you've ever played any of the Batman like Arkham video games. Steam is one of the things they use to like block off an area that they don't actually have. Right.
Yeah.
You know, Batman will just go, ugh. and back off, and that just means there's no room over there. That's
right. Yeah. They haven't drawn it.
Right.
Yeah, steam, the amount of steam that comes out of that thing too. Yeah, they are all in the burn ward like
Seriously?
For a long
time. Clark, you did some deep damage. No, you're crazy.
You're not burned. He gaslights people. They're burned. No, you're not. Trust me. No, that's ridiculous. I didn't do that. Lois did
that. Lex shows Clark how he had his secret room emptied out and his wrecked Porsche destroyed. He then promises to never pry into the Kents' lives again. Clark appreciates the gesture of friendship and asks Lex to do him a favor. Lex volunteers. Clark says Lois.
So, real quick before this scene, the last thing about the pipe bursting scene.
Yeah.
Clark was like, he's really lazy with his lie because they're like, Lois is like, what the hell was that? How did that happen? And Tom Long is like, I guess the pipe burst. It Yeah, it was a weird coincidence.
There were, as much as like I enjoyed this episode, there are certainly several moments, I think we've pointed most of them out, where it's very clear like it's 6 o'clock and we need to finish the script.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, whatever. It was the pipe burst. I don't. Okay, so we're at the Luthor mansion.
Right.
Lex shows Clark into his secret room, and the room is empty. Like, first of all, at least utilize the space, Lex. That's a giant room that is completely empty in your house now.
This could be a fantastic Xbox room.
Yeah. It's a home theater. That is like a movie theater. He's basically got in there.
If I won $1 billion in the lottery, that the first thing I'd do, I'd just build an at-home movie theater.
Oh, for sure.
It'd be great.
Yes, absolutely.
It'd be great.
And then I could come over and watch movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're a billionaire. I'm assuming you have built an apartment nearby for me. That
of course.
On your compound.
Of course.
I'm
obviously. Give me $1 billion. It'll be great.
For a few select people I know, it'll be fantastic.
Yeah. Yep. That was a given.
But no, so Lex is like, I have this giant room. I'm just going to have floodlights on the car, but it's smashed up now. It's like a cube, like that's been in a trash compactor.
Well, we still have dramatic headlights on it, obviously. I really wanted to make a show of it. Not that anyone will ever come in this room. But I just want to look cool, just in case anyone were to dramatically find it later. Not that that's ever happened before.
You think Clark is like, so where's the picture, though? Where is the picture of me?
The big picture. Like, what big picture? What I don't remember.
Yeah. Is that crushed in the car, too? Or is that somewhere else in the house? Because I need to know.
Just over Lex's bed.
Yeah, on the ceiling.
That said, for as goofy as it is, good scene. It's good.
Oh, very good scene. Yeah.
Okay, so Jason apologizes for the attack, but Clark says he has no hard feelings since Jason wasn't himself. That's we haven't gotten as many of those as I think as we've hoped so far, but there it is.
We got two.
Right.
Because Clark says you weren't yourself, and then Jason says, you're right, I wasn't myself a few minutes later.
Yes, I noted that too.
So we got two. Okay, hold on. Not yourself. Ooh, last season we got 7 of those. Baby.
We got 2 in 1 episode this time.
Yeah, hell yeah. I have a question. This is a very practical question.
Yeah.
When Chloe gets burned and she snaps out of her devotion days, it's implied that she had memory loss. She doesn't remember. She's like, how did I get here? What's going on?
Oh, right.
Right? So she has memory loss.
Yes.
But Jason seems to remember beating Clark up.
Right. But what he gets away with here is he asks Jason who his girl is, but Jason says he doesn't know. But you do know.
Right.
You're a faker.
But so he doesn't have memory loss, but Chloe does.
Unless Chloe was just pretending to have memory loss. Just a fight or flight thing of like, I know everything that I did. I'm very embarrassed. Oh, yeah. Where am I?
I have no idea what's going on. I'm going to put us down for 1 memory loss confirmed in the episode.
I think that's fair.
I assume the quarterback lost his memory, but I don't have that confirmed. So
right.
Write down.
At the football game that afternoon, Clark and the team work together to score a victory. Later, Chloe has an awkward conversation with Clark about her prior advances. He takes his mother's advice and is honest about only wanting to be friends with her. Great scene.
It's rough because Clark is like, I don't have feelings for you. And like, I'm not, that's the right thing. And she's like, okay, I understand. And then he has to go and say, at least not right now. Clark. No, you did the right thing. Clark. Now you're giving her hope. You're just stringing her along. At least not right now. Can I keep you on the back burner in case other things don't work out?
Out of game, out of context, like clearly that is like to the audience, like I don't know, maybe. Like,
Right. Yes, for sure. Yes, absolutely.
um,
Okay, so when you talk to your brother, I need you to ask him
yeah,
about that last Hail Mary play. Wouldn't the defense, they would have gone into a prevent defense, Brian. There's like one-on-one coverage. They should be in a prevent. The guy is wide open in the end zone. There's no time on the clock. Where do you think they're going? Where do you think they're going with that play? Terrible coverage.
we'll hopefully get my brother's thoughts on that.
Yeah.
If not, I don't know. looks bad.
No, we got to get your brother.
I
just
know.
have him watch the football scenes just
Yeah.
for this season, and we're just gonna get his thoughts.
Great. Okay. So Chloe takes it in stride, and the two are able to put it behind them. Clark redeems himself by telling her that he changed his mind and will continue to fulfill his commitment to Chloe and the torch. When Clark kisses Chloe on the cheek and Chloe leaves, Lois comes up to tell Clark that Lex made good on his promise and got her into Met You and out of Clark's hair, but not before warning him to never break Chloe's heart. Done and done.
I mean, the scene is better than the wiki makes it sound.
Yes.
There's a little, it's like it's a kind of a goodbye scene for the two of them, and
Yes.
it's very flirty.
Yes.
It's like, I'll visit. But the needle drop let us down, Brian. I wanted a better needle drop there.
It's
we didn't get it.
I'm going to go straight actually into featured music for this episode. There were a lot of needle drops for this episode, and not a single one of them is notable. We got Better Off by Myself by Boss House, Revolution by Authority Zero, California by Hawk Nelson, Medicated by Subspace Zero, Meltdown by Ash, On the Run by Sam Roberts, Disco MF by the Pen 15 Club, and that final one must be Our Mystery by Bebo Norman.
Is someone on the Smallville staff a huge Boss House fan? Because I think they've had more songs than anyone on this show.
I have to wonder if that was like cheap and like kind of sounds
right,
like
and it's
something
like good background,
right?
background football practice music, or
And
whatever.
clearly, like WB's record label is like maybe hoping to make it a thing, but like meanwhile, like, hey, we got this. It's not going to cost you much. We didn't. We gotta get back that Avril budget a little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean they shot their wad last week.
Which I would be interested. I don't know who would be to ask on this. I am very interested in. We've talked about it before, but like, surely. Were they paying for music? Was this in collaboration with the WB's like music department?
This is a good question for Talkville.
Yeah, I guess I hope they would know. It doesn't make sense to me that like no one's gonna watch last week's episode of Smallville because of Avril Lavigne, right?
Right.
Avril Lavigne's featured in that episode, so I'm going to watch it. Rather, teens, the exact demographic Avril Lavigne's people want, are going to be watching Smallville and then go, oh, I like this song. Right? Am I wrong?
I think it's a little bit of both, honestly, because I do remember they would do like, if you want some music from tonight's episode, like after the episodes.
Which I think goes to my second point. Of like clearly the artist is getting something out of this.
Yes, but I think that goes to the point also of maybe it's like WB synergy.
These are Warner
Brothers
that's
artists, and they're like afterwards. I don't know. There's some kind of deal. Obviously,
there has to be
right.
I guess especially leading to talent mixes.
Yes.
Being able to put out an official soundtrack album. Like clearly they weren't looking for the extra revenue, like, oh, we'll make a little extra money with a soundtrack. It's all like a tie-in.
I wonder, is it just mutually beneficial, or like they don't have to pay for the music, but the artist gets the advertising at the end of the episode? Or
Yeah.
I'm very curious. I would love to know how that works.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, looking over some trivia. Let's see. Actress Shalon Simmons also appeared in season 1's Drone as cheerleader Felice Chandler. Because of the similarities between Felice and Rhonda, they are presumably supposed to be the same person. Okay. I pulled up her wiki. She's just one of the cheerleaders. In this we have a little more. There's a couple people here who showed up in multiple episodes, but none of them are notable or in notable roles. However, one of the cheerleaders is Anna Gesslinger, who is Annette O'Toole's daughter.
Oh, all right. That's fun.
Huh?
Yeah.
The football game was filmed at Rotary Stadium in Abbotsfield, British Columbia, which was later used again in the episode Jinx. In previous seasons, football games were filmed in the Swangard Stadium in Burnaby. We've changed football field. Burnaby, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time. But we've changed.
Luckily, all football fields kind of look the same.
Yeah, right? It didn't even occur to me that this wasn't the football field from before. Okay, illusions. Lois remarks that she's trying very hard to get out of Mayberry, the small, idyllic fictional town that was the setting for the Andy Griffith show. Lois also at one point says Shazam, which is the catchphrase of Gomer Pyle, a supporting character on the Andy Griffith show. Lois is a big Andy Griffith fan. I can't tell if this is fun, if it's intentional, or if this is a stretch. So I'll let you make the call here. Clark's football jersey number is 8. Is this a reference to the S, which kind of looks like an 8 when it scars on his chest?
So it has to be because remember the symbol when it's burned on his chest in season 2 or whatever is an 8.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
Yeah. So yes,
so you think that's a Nietzsche Nietzsche moment?
Yeah. We also got a Nietzsche line that we didn't mention where someone says something like superhero and journalist.
Yes.
At some point. Yeah.
That's actually right here in the notes. Yeah. When Clark tells Chloe he's going to continue writing for the Torch, he says, "Wow, superhero and journalist. What are the odds?" Because that's what he's gonna do that as Superman.
He's gonna be both.
Chloe and Lois talk about journalism. Lois says she'd never make a career of journalism, and ironically, that's what she does.
A lot of Nietzsche lines this episode.
A lot of Nietzsche this episode. Which, I kind of missed them. They got. As much as I appreciate when they have some kind of restraint, like we applauded them for not having Lois pop through the door, but I'm happy every time they come up.
I mean, they fit more in this tone that we're doing in season 4.
100%. 100%. Well, I think that's going to wrap us up this week for the Talon Mix. Head to thetalonmix.show. That's where you can find all of our episodes and all the links to our various social media profiles, including our Discord. That's actually the best place to get in touch with us and talk to other people who like the show.
Not the show Smallville. This show, the Talon Mix.
Right. No, nobody there has seen Smallville and has any intention of ever watching Smallville. Zach, do you have anything you want to go over? And if not, any questions for the Smallville gods?
Oh man, what do I want to ask the Smallville gods? Did Allison Mack actually touch Tom Welling's junk when they shot that scene?
Good night, everybody. You guys remember CDs in the 90s and 2000s would sometimes have a bonus track at the end? The final track would play and then it'd be a couple minutes of silence and then something would, oh, another song is here. That's what I'm doing, but podcasting, baby.
with me.
with Pat, as promised. This episode had some high school football in it, so we wrangled. You remember him? He's been on the show before. My brother Patrick. Hey, Pat.
What's going on? Thanks for having me back on.
Thanks for coming back. So Patrick, I told you could just watch the football bits, but I think you watched the whole episode.
Yeah, I did. It just seemed easier at the time. I regret it.
So we were our recap was very positive towards this episode.
You guys just said the last episode I was on to be like, this is actually a good one. And I'm like, oh no.
So we haven't converted you yet. Got it, to Smallville fan. We'll work on it. We'll keep we'll keep at it. No, shit doesn't get bad till like season 7, and there's a writer strike, and they keep going. That's when the show gets bad.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So I don't really have a structure for it. Like I said, this is just some little bonus material. So Patrick, you were a high school football coach, now a college coach. How do you feel about the depiction of high school football?
Yeah. So let's start with the things that they did right.
Okay.
So for one, the players were in helmets. All right. So now let's talk about everything they did wrong.
Great. We got one.
My God.
I'm a little like, how much could they have gotten wrong? But
I mean, it's like, and look, I understand that it's for a TV show. They're not good for a TV show not about football. They're not going to care very much about it. But like,
that's it. We are here to overanalyze. So
right, fair. But like, you did more work than you had to in some points. Why were there like fans at practice?
I did notice. I was rewatching a couple clips, and it is weird that a fully suited up cheer squad is there for practice.
Fully suited up cheer squad is there for practice. There is people in the stands like yelling and screaming with what's going on during practice. That was by far the craziest part of it for me. Also, so just through context clues, Coach T graduated probably the year before.
Coach T, okay. Lana Lang met Jason Teague in Paris. He has now come back after Lana to be like, yo, I want to be with you, Lana. They're around the same age. They were in the same like summer program. He is now working at the high school, but that's probably just not a good idea. You probably just shouldn't have taken this job, Jason Teague.
Right. But he's not much older.
No,
than
he's
them, obviously.
No, right.
Like he's just he's like fresh out. He's also the only coach we see.
He is the assistant coach,
right?
But we see no adult
to another coach, and there's no adult like present while this is happening.
Right.
That was also pretty crazy. And how I liked how the players stayed in pads to shoot him too when he thought he was hitting on his girlfriend. It's like hours later and he stayed in his pads. Like Clark has gone home and like came back, and this guy left during practice to go shopping. And
I didn't even think of that, dude.
Yeah,
so
that was pretty nuts.
So that means did he stay? So he left to go shopping, and then presumably at some point got a shotgun.
Yes.
To arrive back to a school. So did he put the pads back on to make sure Jason Teague knew?
It probably meant more.
Yeah.
Another thing was they show a shot of him in school, and they mentioned they make the joke twice that those aren't his colors, and he goes, "That's the school colors." It's very funny.
It's because he's going to be Superman.
Right. I actually didn't pick up on that. I just wanted to make a statement and joke twice. Got it. Okay. But typically Letterman jackets earning your varsity letter only happens after the season, not like when you get named starting quarterback. That's not when that happens. Typically, I don't know how everybody does it, but like varsity letter for anybody who's played high school sports, it's something you like earn. Like if you played varsity that season, like and he had not taken a snap in game. I also enjoy how, and this happens in movies all the time, where they're like, "Oh, the backups just kind of sit on the bench." It's like, so you were told he had just joined the team.
Yes.
I just go like, what coach looks at this chiseled jaw, 6-pack, like freakazoid athlete goes, yeah, just sit on the, you're no good. You just joined this team. It's like, no, why don't we see if he could play football somewhere instead
Right.
of
Also,
sit on the bench.
Also, like, even if he was the backup QB, wouldn't you get a few snaps
Yeah,
in practice?
absolutely. Yeah. Usually, like, there's also times in practice where you do drills. You're not just like running plays against yourself like the entire
It's all
time.
scrimmage. It's all
scrimmages.
But I do love the idea of like this guy who looks like the comic book character of Superman. Nothing. Sorry, Clark. We don't have a spot for you yet. We think we're good.
There's anything you can do. Coach says we got a pretty good team. Like, no, you're still going to see this kid walking in. Now, I did say that, and then there was the scene in the locker room where they're getting the new jerseys, and every player on the team is ripped out of their mind and look like they're 45 years old.
They are all Canadian adults. That is true.
So yeah, maybe the Smallville Crows has that that luxury of like, oh, just another 6-pack coming through there. Trying to I know and it happens in football movies all the time where now we're in the game, they're playing the game and they're losing, and there's like 4 seconds on there's not a lot of time left on the clock and they have a long way to go. And there's always this moment in these football movies where they go, I'm gonna go deep, and everybody's like, are you crazy? Like, no, that's literally the only option. Like he goes, go, and the play call was go get open in the end zone.
That was my big complaint, was like, what is the coach for the other team fucking doing? Wouldn't you go into a prevent defense there?
And not to mention the DB covering the receiver, the defensive player covering the receiver is right on him, and then he disappears. He went to go cover someone else, I guess, as time is running down.
They couldn't put the guy like even a little closer to him for the shot.
I know.
He, like, so far away.
Like, or just like have a shot of someone else, like show like Clark was, but it was like shot of him right next to him, shot of him all by himself.
He's fast.
Touchdown. He's bad. He's bad. Yeah. One thing that I did like was kind of a called shot. When did this show come up? When did this episode air?
So in 2004, October 2004.
So it hasn't happened in football, and I, definitely not in high school football, but something going on in sports that is branded jerseys where companies will put their logo, and there is a LexCorp logo on their new jerseys.
Interesting.
So like the NBA has it now.
Got it.
Where they have like a little company's logo, like right where they put it. And that came about like 2-3 years ago. So it was a pretty good call shot.
They knew. They knew.
Yeah. Clark's number also changes from 7 to 8.
We can't tell if that is on the show we call them Nietzsche lines, which is a reference to the pod. We can't tell if that's like a Superman thing. The 8. I can't speak to the 7.
Okay.
Yeah, the 8 is kind of it involves some show stuff. Basically, he has a S like scarred into his chest at one point, and it looks like an 8.
Okay, gosh, yeah, no, but like he was wearing 7, and then I forget the first girl who's hitting on him, or
it like straight up changes in between like shots.
Not in between shots, but he's like, "Why are you wearing my football jersey?" And it's completely different style of jersey, completely different number than the one he was wearing. All that there. So, and there could be differences between practice jersey and game jersey, but she was wearing another practice jersey that wasn't his.
So I had one other big question, which is how do you feel about the show's ethical dilemma about Superman playing football?
Am I coaching him or are I coaching against him? Because that's a different. Those are two different conversations, depending on which side I have it. Yeah, like, let it rip if he's on my team. And like it was like I get like they make a big deal over a 60-yard pass, which is long, for a high school kid.
Sure,
that's a long, but it's not like over the top.
Absolutely unheard of.
Like, like it's not like his dad was like, whoa. On that. Yes.
How bad is the Smallville coach that they were behind in that game?
With Superman, it's pretty
Superman
bad.
was the quarterback.
Well, which coach? The head coach who hasn't shown up to a single practice, or the fucking teenager they have running the show? Which coach are you talking about?
Should we go along? Oh yeah, whatever. I
have him call the play of just.
Should we like
go get open in the end zone?
Should we like run something? I said I'm busy.
Unbelievable. Yeah, pretty good.
All right, we got the one though. They wore helmets.
They wore helmets. They definitely did that, and we do that. We that's authentic.
Pat, we actually, if people enjoy us babbling about sports in media, we have a podcast coming out in 2023 called Game Tape. I'm not quite sure when. I think we're banking a bunch so that we can come out with a couple all at once. But you and I, once a month, are going to talk about sports movies.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of fun. We just did Gridiron Gang.
We just did Gridiron Gang, and we'll do something else at some point before it comes out.
Time.
But I'm going to include a clip from that right after this.
Perfect.
And listen to the talent mix, and I'll let you know when that comes out. Patrick, thank you so much.
No problem, man. Anytime.
Zach's having some technical difficulties, but I'm sure he says thanks and good night as well. Goodbye, everybody. Here's a clip from Game Tape.
I have a few things.
Yeah.
First and foremost, The Rock coaching this game in blue jeans is a wild move.
Is it?
A wild move. You don't coach. There has never been a coach that's coached in blue jeans. Ever. Like, it's khakis, sweatpants, whatever. You don't coach in blue jeans.
He's rough around the edges, Patrick. You wouldn't understand.
He's the bad boy coaching.
You know how I was talking about moms earlier? Like, I love him. There's also dads. Like, I'm The Rock.
Yeah.
The Rock and I would be friends.
We've all been The Rock before. But here's something I'm going to say about motivational speeches. As someone who has given hundreds of them, they're pointless.
Sure.
Pointless. Okay. By the time you run out onto the field, you've already forgotten what you said. The team has forgotten what you said. It's just like, I want to get them excited to walk out, I guess, of this locker room right now. I'm still going to say them. They're still fun. There's still a lot of stuff to do. But my favorite part of this, and again, movie, I get it, halftime comes up.
Yeah.
And The Rock doesn't say, or whatever. He's like, no, they're ready. Okay. The point of halftime is not to get the team excited about anything. Like, especially when you're losing 14, you haven't scored like maybe think of some adjustments here and there. Like, you really don't have time at halftime to make another motivational speech, let alone just sit there and let them yell at each other. Like,
God, oh my God, asterisk. We stepped over. We got all excited. We missed one of the most important scenes, which is when The Rock, you know, who looks like The Rock, comes out in pads that were purchased for a teenager. So the point of this is during a practice, there's one kid who it's expressed on the field during a game. I think it might be by Exhibit. He's afraid of getting hit.
Captain Obvious. Yeah. Here comes X to the Z Exhibit.
So The Rock is gonna demonstrate, and they set up a line for him, and he'll win The Rock's respect if he knocks him down. And then, of course, this teenage boy going against The Rock gets just his fucking lunch eaten, his bell rung over and over because it's the fucking Rock. And then The Rock gives him a motivational speech to believe harder, not, leverage your weight against mine. Not any tips.
Find a way to make me not The Rock.
Grow up and get real strong real fast.
So this is something high school coach. We did a lot of work with the youth program, and it's very, it's youth program is a bunch of dad volunteers. They just don't know, it's just, they're volunteers. They're doing this great thing that they're doing, but youth coaches love to hold the bag themselves. It's like, no, that second grader can't push you. Right. Give another second grader the bag. You're not going to run the play well. You're bigger and stronger than they are.
Well, see, the problem is, Patrick, according to Dwayne The Rock Johnson, is they're not believing hard enough. Because, as demonstrated by the film, based on a true story, Patrick, this is true. This boy believes, and he knocks The Rock on his butt. And then Exhibit comes down and is like, "You're an idiot." And The Rock goes, "Guess I worked my way up from asshole." And a dad in the audience went, "I'm The Rock."
I'm using that one.
I'm remembering that one.
And now that dad is in jail. Because he kept fucking up a third grader.